Alright, welcome everybody to round 6 of the Trackstars Formula 3 Championship. We are live from the spectacular Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya GP. Welcome, obviously, by my side as always. We've got Mr. Spudley. What's going on, my friend? It's been a couple of weeks, I think, since we've been in the combox.
Yes, it has been a very long time. It's been about three weeks, I think, was the last time I was in the commentary box in the Formula 2s or in the Formula 3s. So whatever the last coverage was which was at Mountain Panorama for, I believe, was the Formula 2 Championships. It was been a bit of a drinks break in between, but yes, I've been away, just over in having a nice little extended break away from work and Trackstars, and getting myself into some holiday mode in Argentina, just celebrating my sister and my now brand new brother-in-law's wedding over there. So it was a very exciting period of time, very exciting festivities in Argentina. But now I'm back better than ever, excited for the second half of this championship season here at Trackstars, with our Formula 3s just about to get underway for qualifying very soon. But all the action has been happening on and off the track, as you could say. We're getting ourselves ready for June, where we've got a big season, a big endurance race coming up.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, big congratulations to you and your family and all that kind of stuff. You did have a bit of a bender, as they say, overseas. So yeah, it wasn't too bad. But yeah, some big news was we have a 8-hour of Le Mans happening on the weekend of the 18th of June. So it's going to be roughly about a week's worth of running and stuff like that in regards to qualifying and setting everything up. So yeah, it's going to be 4 2-hour stints, and that'll be run on this 18th of June from 11 AM to 9 PM. So it's going to be a pretty big day, or a pretty big week, really. So we'll definitely wait and see on what happens with that one.
Very exciting time in the month of June, but we are in the month of April, halfway through the month of April. So we obviously, for all of us at Trackstars, we hope that everyone had a wonderful Easter period, Easter break away from sim racing, went to family and friends. But now we are bringing you back all the action here on live and free on YouTube, the Trackstars Racing Series channel. So if you haven't already, please like and follow us on this YouTube stream. And as we see, DJ just having a bit of a fun time with his replay cameras, where he's just been missing that so much over the last few weeks.
Weeks, mate. It's been months. I haven't had a replay camera in months. Since GT Sport days, but that's fantastic. So I'll definitely be making the most of that. But yeah, I got my double keyboard set up. So yeah, I got the PC keyboard and the PS5 keyboard. So yeah, the F3 boys are out first. So they're up first before the main series kicks off at 8 PM, which will be a pretty decent race. I think we have a couple of drivers being shifted around due to absences and stuff like that. Obviously myself backing up for my win. Bugged, but we can see they're definitely up 75 litres of fuel. So Griffin starts his lap with Purton behind him, and yeah, it's been pretty spicy in the F3 Championship.
Yeah, I managed to catch all the action from Dragon Trail Seaside for that Croatian Grand Prix, and the man that's been leading that charge was James from WTC Racing. He's had to put on a stealth performance to get a clean sweep for that round, and unfortunately for the championship leader in Purton, he didn't have his way going into that first race, but at the second race he managed to improve his positioning. I think it was P2 at the end of it, so he only finished P4 overall, but that also closes in the championship gap between those two drivers, and with Purton holding a 22-point lead over James at MSR, VL Racing versus WTC Racing, with both having some top quality drivers in their fields. But we've also got some returning drivers with us tonight. We have Koeman from ICE Racing Group, from Intercontinental Racing Esports, from Belgium, so it's great to have him on board. Obviously, the one driver I didn't see was Jay Gray, privateer car 87, so it was good to see his performance. Not obviously being in his debut round, he just needed a bit of getting his way around the track, getting to know his competitors. But we also have a new face as well down in P8, which is D Fletcher joining us, who's actually just signed up in the past week for sim racing here at Trackstars 50. So we wish him all the best for his 2 races ahead, the sprint and the feature race. The sprint determining the positions in qualifying, as we see a replay of Hedges just taking the motorcycle circuit layouts on that left-hand side. But good to see some new faces and returning names here in Formula 3, as we are less than about just over 6 months of qualifying to go.
Yeah, the seaside race was definitely interesting. Obviously, the death chicane claimed a few lives. So yeah, but unfortunately, we don't actually have Robbo on track this week. So that's a bit unfortunate. But the question is, can James stop Purton? That's the question. So he's a little bit behind in the championship, but he's probably the best person at the moment, closest enough to get Purton on that. He's only 22 points behind him. Yeah, 22 points behind. So really, it's kind of not much in it at all. So it's not kind of really over till it's over with these guys. But yeah, it's going to be a pretty exciting finish. But yeah, Gray had a decent debut. I think he was actually leading for a fair bit until he made a couple of mistakes. I think coming into the chicane and ended up dropping back. So yeah, I think there's definitely potential there for Gray.
As we see James take a bit of an escapade on the left-hand side there. So with DJ playing with his camera settings again, we get to see that wonderful replay of James just getting it all tricky here. But I will say as well, DJ, it's not just the Formula 3 guys that are struggling around turns 7 and 8. Even the main series Formula Trackstars boys will find that corner very tricky, as it is very slippery on whenever you run those curves too much.
Yeah, I haven't done much testing myself, but I'm definitely kind of not a fan at the moment, especially with the new update that did bring in, obviously, the camera angles that I'm playing around with, but they changed a lot of the suspension models and controller support. So there's kind of I haven't played the game since Seaside, so I'm kind of going in on the fly here. So yeah, it's definitely going to be a bit interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all going to be a brand new learning experience for even for our Formula 3 boys. They haven't played around with these settings since last round, which was at Seaside. But as we delve ourselves into qualifying, 4 minutes to go, we have Carter from WTC Racing leading the way, just ahead of Purton, only 2 tenths clear of Purton, and then just right behind him is Griffin, also from WTC Racing. So you've got the 2 MSR and 2 WTC boys in the top 4, with Koopman in 5th place, just being the rear of Bottleneck in 5th place, just holding on for Ice Racing Group. And then we have Smith from FR Bono Racing in 6th place, making a nice return back into the Formula 3 Championship. So it's good to see him along. And then in P7 we have Gray, the privateer, backed by Gray Media in P7. And then, like you said, the likely contender for the championship leader in Purton's down in 8th place. And James, after that last lap, didn't get anything right, got himself 2 minute 56s, so it's not really a good lap there. And then rounding up the rear of the field is going to be Fletcher in 9th place, car 237 on his debut for Formula 3.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit interesting, I think, but I'm certain that James wouldn't really want to be down here. Gray goes off a little bit there. We'll see what happened here with this replay camera, eh?
It was already off.
That
was just an anticlimax there, DJ. You were expecting a little bit of a half spin return 9.
I was. But we are actually using the traditional layout as well, so we aren't using the chicane. I think everyone can kind of agree that it's a lot better without the chicane. It creates a lot better racing, and it doesn't have really as much of a bottleneck. So it's certainly something that we kind of want, better racing and stuff like that. All that twice feels great.
Yeah, absolutely, and even for a track like this, it opened up in the 1990s, so even though it's a fast-flowing track, the safety requirements had seen that final section of the track modified and then basically butchered with a lot of chicanes in recent years, spoiling what I guess was in a way some enjoyable laps around that circuit. But because safety was a huge factor for the drivers' well-being, it was only recently announced this year that in 2023 the Formula One Championship is actually going to be using that no chicane layout, the layout that we're currently running at the moment. Since 2006 was the last time that we saw that fast double right-hander at turn 13 and 14 at Circuit de Catalunya in Barcelona. So it's going to be great to see that we don't get to have that lazy chicane anymore, because my goodness, like the amount you can't overtake in the real world. So I'll be very interested to see how our drivers in these cars with not so much error watch behind them, but it might produce some close racing later this evening as we have go on board with James here going through turn 9, one of the trickiest sections of the track. Get it right, you're going to get yourself a really good entry into that middle part of the corner, but you just run too wide and that car will just literally understeer you wide as Carter improves his lap time ever so slightly just to go a little bit further ahead than Purton in second place. But here we go through turns 11 and then going into 12. He looks like he's got himself a nice little entry there, just hugging the apex there, and it's just basically with his car flat as he can, keep that foot down. He just takes his slight hesitations with throttle. Was a bike through here, just a slight lift of that. I guess with not too much downforce on these cars, you can't really go flat like an SM19, but his lap time promotes him up to 6th place there, so not too far behind his teammate in Griffin.
Yeah, it looks like everyone will get another lap on something just to catch. So Fletcher here looks like he may catch a check of the laps only for the first one, so everyone else is on their last lap. So yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see what Fletcher will be like once he gets his head around the car and stuff. So
yeah, absolutely. And he talked to me over the past couple of hours. He just said he was really excited for the championship. Actually, as he improves on his own time, so nice work there. So he's very excited to get his head down and understand these cars and how he's able to race against his competitors. So he's looking forward to the challenge. It's going to be a bit of a long road ahead for him just to understand these cars. But he's only got 4 more rounds to really get a good feel before we delve into the Touring Car Championship, TS3 Touring Car Championship coming up later in August. As we see Carter going around the final corner, he wasn't setting any purple lap times. He was just weaving his car around on the straight, just having a bit of a play around. So we'll look to the cars behind him. We're going to look back towards Purton if he gets any sort of improvements. He's into the 1 minute 42s, 43s. Does he get an improvement? No, he doesn't. He's only a 10th behind, so very close. Rat Kuman in 3rd place won't be. He might improve his time. No, he doesn't. He's well off pace. And Griffin, yeah. And Griffin just came in with that last lap as well. Hedges is going to be coming around the final corner, turn 14, very nicely. He's not looking to improve his lap at all. He's into the 1 minute 45s, 46s. Yeah, there's no improvement for there. Unfortunately, so that looks to be our grid set, unless James has something to say about it. No, he still stays P6, so he was demoted to 7th, then 6th, and then back to 7th, and now finishes up in P6. So, bit of work to do for James if he wants to get put any pressure on Purton in this championship.
yeah, it's definitely going to be a bit interesting there, because James was up the front in at Seaside, so I'm kind of a bit, curious here on what's happened. Maybe he doesn't really kind of have the track and car combo going on, but it'll all take time. As always, practice will be a lot better for these guys once they get a hand around it. But yeah, you can see here we've got Carter on pole there with Purton lining up next to him. So a solid performance there from WTC Racing and VO MSR. So I think it's unfortunate that we don't have any MSR VO Racing in F2 in Rogworth, but we haven't seen him for a little bit. So hopefully he can come back. But yeah, other than that, they're doing not too bad. So
yeah, so the development program's going really well, and the back of the MSR factory with the VL MSR boys really delving their hands in really trying to understand this car. That's actually Purton's fastest lap around here. So he's been struggling with the 1 minute 44s and mid 144s, but to produce the time where it matters, which is in qualifying for the actual race, is actually a really good time, and just over a 10th behind Carter, the pole man, who showed some really good early performances in the opening part of the championship, but with just a couple of missed rounds, has kind of ruled him out of championship contention. But as we get ourselves ready for the green flag, we will run through that grid one more time before the race starts. We have Carter on pole position with Purton just behind in second place. Then a big gap behind them is Griffin. Then we have Koeman in the top 4 with Hedges rounding up 5th place. And then James, Smith and Gray rounds up your top 8. And Fletcher right down the back in 9th place on his debut outing here at Trackstars Formula 3. So as we get ourselves ready, it is time, DJ, let's place our Monopoly money on some drivers tonight. Who have we got going into turn 1 and who have we got going in to take the victory tonight in the first sprint race?
Mate, F3 has been very up and down. Honestly, I don't, I've got no idea, to be honest, but I think, you know, my money's probably even on Carter there, but you know, you may even see someone come from down the back, so we'll wait and see what happens here.
Absolutely right. We can't wait to see the start of this race as the revs rise, and we are back here live racing here at Trackstars Formula 3. It is lights out in green flag racing. Looks like Carter's got himself a really good start there, where we go side by side. Purton's going to tuck in behind Carter, so it looks like Carter might be going into the lead here at the end of turn 1, but Purton might go for a late move going to turn. We'll wait and see. It feels like an age for the cars to come down this section, but looking in those mirrors there, DJ, that is a cluster of Red Bull Juniors. And Griffin's come for the inside move on turn 2, and he's stolen P2 away from Purton in the MSRVR Racing, so it's a WTC 1-2, but Purton's going to look back to go onto the inside of turn 3. Will he go for that move, or turn 4 rather? He does, so he takes back P2. Oh, he's got a bit of a slide going through there. Griffin with a switchback move, beautiful stuff there. Griffin takes P2, and Purton promoted to P3 as Carter starts to extend his lead by a few car lengths and starting to get into that comfort zone. There's WTC 1 and 2 with Purton behind.
Yeah, that was a little feisty battle we had going on there. That was good. So the driver's keeping it clean, which is what we want to see. But James has moved up to 50, so I think he got a spot there. You know, Koeman qualified well, but he's dropped a little bit far back there, so probably not where he wants to be. But great shot from down the back. See, I'm telling you, mate, these F3 drivers, they're definitely surprising us.
Absolutely, yeah. Oh, it's contact made between James and Gray. That might need to be a bit of a redress there, but James goes on that inside move, but Hedges has gone round and both Smith have tagged along each other. It's looked like he's done a 360 and he gets the car pointing in the right direction. As now for the first time in Trackstars Formula 3 racing, he gets to use the replay function to see what happened to Hedges as he looks to go in. There's a little bit of a tap there, so I don't know, DJ. I think that may have just been a bit of a lag bump between the two drivers. So I don't know how to see that. As we play on with racing with Smith just up into P7, Hedges drops down to P9. Unfortunately, Carter, and now it looks like Purton's gone back to P2. So it's just going to be a bit of a tight battle between Purton and Griffin. But with all of this, Carter's just leading the way by 2.4 seconds.
Yeah, he's like, see you boys, keep fighting. I'm just gonna run away with this. You know, I've got 5 laps to go, 4.5 to go where he is now, about 4 3/4. But yeah, so you know, he's probably thinking, boys, you can keep fighting, and I'm just gonna run away with this. But you know, the boys in the back kind of need to work together to try and catch Carter. Yeah, at the moment, Carter's probably gonna run away with it. So yeah, Monopoly money might get it thrown out of the cot for this one, because who knows what we're going to have.
Yeah, that's right, and it looks like Purton's just able to pull away from Griffin just a little bit in that last section. It's through sector 1 and now coming through sector 2. It is a very easy track to pick up those half-second penalties, DJs, and just run those just that little bit wide over the white lines. You do pick up that half-second penalty just out of nowhere. You feel like you've got yourself on a good lap, and the next thing you know, bang, half-second penalty. Or if you run it over the double white lines in this corner here through turns 13 and 14, you're just going to be slapped with 1 second penalty. So very tricky for our drivers to see just to keep the cars lead.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit interesting there. You can see a little bit of a glitch coming up on the screen there about the please review, but yeah, I think, you know, it's they're always keeping us on our toes, but look who's lurking in the background here. James is lurking in the background, hoping something's going to happen so he can try and bounce.
James has come through very nicely down from 7th place up into 4th, so from 6th to 4th rather, so he's done himself a good job to get himself up further up into the group. We see James battling out first, got himself a gap to behind his teammate in group. So it's a WTC total with the VL MSI driver in first and second place, and then Kuman for the ice racing group in 5th place. Has got himself ahead of Gray, the privateer for Gray Media Racing in 6th place, and then Hedges after that little spin is now back up into 7th place, and he'll be, I don't think he'll make any moves on Gray at the moment. I feel like he might be a little bit too far back, so you might just have to settle down and regroup for the feature race. But the WTC boys are just, you can just see they're just a class above the rest of the drivers, and we can see Purton as well. He is closing the gap in, but I don't know how much time he's got left before he can think about making those moves and making that move on Carter.
Yeah, you know, he's Purton started to really reel that gap in from Carter, so you know I wouldn't kind of count Purton out yet. And then Griffin's kind of going to come with him. So, but then you know you got James, which is 2.5 seconds back. But if these guys keep fighting, then that gap will definitely close. But they seem to kind of spread out now. They're in their own little their little ways. But Hedges actually come back up through 7th, so that's pretty solid there. And we've got Fletcher down here, obviously in 9th, but you know it is his first race, so you know we're not kind of really expecting him to come out and blow the waters away. So I think he's just kind of getting used to the car and track combo. So it's, you know, we're always here.
I guess you never know. I mean, even a driver like Gray came out of nowhere from his privateer entry car. What car was it? Yeah, I think car 87 sponsored by Gray Media. He came from out of nowhere last time out at Seaside, and he shocked everyone. So he had a good outing as well and showed some good potential pace, but unfortunately just didn't have the best of outcomes at the end of the round. And one for learning, one to learn for Fletcher at the end of this race, and obviously it'd be good for him to get some experience behind him, and hopefully we might be able to see him a little bit more in the Trackstars Formula 3 and even in our TS3 Touring Car Championship later on this evening, or later on in the calendar year.
Yeah, it's the inclusion of the F3 is good to the calendar. You know, it keeps it all spicy. And you know, the guys, they might join in for F2 and they might think they're a little bit off the pace. So I think this is kind of perfect. You know, it's running kind of the same you know ruling as the TS3 Championship too. But actually, while we are talking about the championships, it's in some late news. We had some championship trophies come in the last week. So all the trophies for the Enduros for the main series, plus the champions and the Daytona 500 winner. So 26 trophies are yet to go out to the winners. So I've just got to get a couple fixed up. But yeah, no, they're looking quite fantastic. So I'm definitely happy with those. But you know, if that's not any motivation to race main series, you know, get a little trophy on your cabinet, because I think you've got a couple yourself, and now I've got 4. So yeah, it's definitely interesting.
Yeah, well, I'm just waiting for my 2020 trophy to somehow arrive magically. So other than that, yes, we've got ourselves a bit of motivation here for our drivers this evening. So even the championship, whoever wins the championship in Formula 3 will be racing for that trophy. But Purton has closed up massively. He hasn't been able to go fast as like as in a fastest lap, but he's reeling in those lap times. 1 minute 44s constantly with good consistency. Unlike Carter on that last lap, got himself 1 minute 45.3. So lost a bit of time there, but Purton's coming through, and there's only just 1.5 laps to go around this 5.6 kilometer circuit. So he's going to be waiting through what the aero wash is going to be like. Let's go on board with Purton as we go through Sector 3 and just see what the aero wash does to his car in second place. As he's coming through to turn 10, you can just see full lock with that car going into turn 10, and then through 11 and 12, it's all about just trying to keep that speed through, try and keep the momentum going as you go for this long right-handed. It feels like it takes forever. And he's just copped a massive aero wash there from the rear end of Carter. And just collected a cone there. I mean, as long as you haven't got any smokers on the stream here, then he's collected your cone. But coming through onto the last lap here, Carter's onto the pit straight with Purton right on his heels for this last lap, which is only the sprint race, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a feature race to come, but it does feel like a feature race here because it is a battle of the last lap between WTC Racing's Carter versus Purton for MSRVL Racing, first and second. It's never say never until the checkered flag, but I feel like Carter's just opened up a little bit in those last few corners.
Yeah, it's I think Purton had a little bit of a shocking run through turn one there. He got a little bit and he had a really bad line, so he lost a lot of time to Carter. So, you know, I think 1.2 seconds is a little bit much to close up on.
Yeah.
On the final lap, especially when there's not really many overtaking places you can try here. So yeah, I think right now where they are, I think this is pretty much how they're going to finish for the sprint race, and then obviously, as you said, we've got the feature race after this. But you know, we got James here. It's closed up slightly on Griffin, but not really much. But yeah, it's been a good race for these four up front.
Yeah, absolutely. And as like we said, there's not much overtaking opportunities left, and the gap is just well extended over that 1 second margin. So Carter's going to come through sector 3 untouched and unscathed, and is going to claim the first blood here for round 6 of the Trackstars Formula 3 Championship, negotiating turns 13 and 14. It's all about trying to get this part right, because it is actually, funny enough, very tricky. In any car you drive, one little mistake on too much throttle, you do run away into that gravel trap. But Carter has done it perfectly, and with the fastest lap as well on that last lap. So putting the authority over Purton, saying, you've got a fastest lap, mate, I can match you as well. So Carter puts his moves on that last lap, getting the fastest lap, taking victory, with Purton in second place, Griffin in third, James fourth, and Koeman in fifth, and Gray just coming under pressure now from Hedges for the battle of sixth place. Gray's going to come through to turns 14, just really try to execute that. It is very tricky. It is very, very tricky to make that car not understeer to that gravel trap. But our boys have done so well this evening just to keep those cars clean. Gray over Hedges and Smith in 8th place, and then while we're down the back here, we have Fletcher in 9th place, car 237 down in 9th place. But man, that last lap by Carter there, DJ, that was incredible. He's put his authority on Purton.
Yeah, that 44 flat there, that's a really solid time there. Nearly a 43, but not quite. Maybe if you had a little bit of draft, it would have been a 43. But that error wash there for Purton coming through sector 3, that really kind of killed him. But Fletcher rounding out the top 9 here, it's been a solid one there for all the drivers. But big ups to Carter there, getting the sprint race. So we'll run through the finishing order after I get the replay, because I accidentally didn't get it last week, which is nice. But yeah, so we got Carter here with a 144.082 for the fastest lap and getting the race win. So that's a pole position to race win, which doesn't often happen. But obviously there is chances that it does, and in this case it has.
Yeah, exactly right. And I guess in the way you want to be in that front pack there, you want to be in that first front row around this track, because as we said, it is very hard to overtake around this track. You haven't really seen too many Formula 1 or Formula 2 or 3 races where you've seen a lot of overtaking around this track. So it's very well demonstrated here on Gran Turismo 7 that overtaking can be very tricky. But for the guys like James in P4 from 6th to 4th, that's a good recovery drive for him. So he'll be looking to make some moves in the feature race very shortly. Hedges has got himself a bit of work to do down in P7, but we could see some we may see some surprises in this feature race. It is 13 laps here, so double the distance for our drivers this evening, and we'll find out who will be on top of the feature race as we take a quick break away from the commentary box. So stay tuned, don't go anywhere, and we'll be bringing you all the action of the feature race very shortly.
Alright, we're back, and I'm going to do a bit of a hot lap. This week it's not going to be in a safety car, it's going to be in the big boy Red Bull car. So it's like the epitome of the Red Bull Junior. So if anyone wants it, they can get this through their licensing, the fantastic X 2019. So the car is not nice at all.
No, I don't think it would be nice for you, especially if you're not able to hear the game sound coming through. So that'd be very interesting for in your hands today compared to what you did in the safety car last time out at Seaside. But it looks like you're doing a very nicely job going through to turn 4 into Repsol, and then usually in this section here at turn 5 you'll see a lot of Fernando Alonso and Carlos Sainz stands when we come to that Formula 1 Grand Prix championship coming up in, I believe it's going to be in June or May actually. It's going to be the Spanish Grand Prix. So you'll see a lot of Fernando Alonso and Carlos Sainz supporters there. Through the infamous turn 9 here, try and make sure they get that car flat going through those corners. Unfortunately, this car might be very tricky with Formula 2 drivers. Oh, as he's coming through.
Hey!
Oh, he had to do it, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, we're not all perfect, so I mean, yeah, I think I had issues on mine as well back at round 1. But coming through 11 and 12, see the grandstands all packed for today's race here at Trackstars Racing Series for both Trackstars Formula 3 and for the Formula Trackstars. So they're all here in numbers, ready for the racing action here on Sunday, April the 16th of 2023. Then coming around to turn 14, very nicely executed there through Catalunya onto the pit straight, and that is what you can call a hot lap around this track.
Yeah, that was I can hear the sound, but it's delayed, so it's not ideal. But yeah, so it's not bad. I've adjusted the settings on my computer and stuff, so it comes through. But yeah, you know, the season so far for everything have been pretty right at the moment. But you know, I think, yeah, as you said earlier, the winner of this will get a trophy, as will the winner of each championship. So the F3, the F2, the Formula Track Stars, the TS3, the TS2, the Touring Car Champion, plus all of the Enduros. So I think we got a bit of a stacked lineup for trophies next year, which is going to be a pretty expensive one. But all of the trophies were produced by Custom Trophies up here in Sydney, up near your way, your old way. So they're up in Wyong, so up near towards Newcastle. So they did an absolutely phenomenal job. Turned around pretty quickly too. So you know, I definitely want to use them in the past. So quite happy with what they produced. But I think, you know, that can kind of be a bit of motivation for people. I think.
Yeah,
to see,
absolutely.
You know, and it's definitely interesting. I don't have a photo on here, I don't think. Actually,
As long as it's not one of you from last night, then that'll be fantastic.
Settle down, my friend. Settle down. Settle down. None of that.
What's her name?
Whoa. Okay, none of that.
We'll keep it PG on the Track Stars unless someone wants to take that extra mile, but we won't invite it to the stream.
As we can see here, I've got on the stream the champion trophies. It's taken up all the screen, but they're actually pretty phenomenal. There are 2-layer star on the front. There is a bit of a mistake with this trophy here, which I'm going to get fixed up. I've already talked to them about it. They're going to get it back down to me. So yeah, it's definitely nice, and I like them. So we'll definitely get them out to the winners in due time. But yeah, so just about ready to go. I just need to reset the grid because, okay, all the boys are back now. So I shall reset the grid. I believe I needed Carter on the front, and that should be good. So
Yep, absolutely.
yeah.
So We're ready to crack on. 13 laps here for the feature race. So the longest race over double distance here of the Formula 3 Championship. So it's all about endurance. It's all about as well, especially for these guys as well. It's all about managing. Yeah, I mean, you don't want to think about it, but I think you've got to think about tire management as well, because those front left tires will absolutely be murdered, and these cars with a balance of performance and no tuning aspects with these Formula 3 cars. But it's all about who can handle that the best, as we are about to get underway for the final race here for round 6 of the Trackstars Formula 3 Championship. The man that took the victory and put his authority on with setting the fastest lap at the end of the race there, Carter, in first place, but right on his tail will be Purton. So it's all about both of them getting that jump into the first corner. Who will get it between Carter and Purton? Those lights are about to go out for the final time this evening. It's going to be a battle between WTC and MSR VL Racing. It is lights out, green flag racing. It looks like Purton's got himself a perfect launch there, and he's going to go side by side with Carter going into turn 1. So the better launch there for Purton might give him the upper advantage, but look at those pack of drivers right behind them. They want to make sure they get the moves done nice and early. Purton comes through turn 1 and will take the lead away from Carter. Griffin slots into second place, and then we have LA in fourth in Koeman, and then I saw a car go wide there. I believe that was Gray at the exit of turn 3. But we have Smith coming through to P7, P6, and then we have Gray and Hedges rounding up the top 8 with Fletcher right behind there. But wow, that was an amazing start there by Purton there, DJ. Got the jump done nice and early.
Yeah, he got it down the inside there, and he took it off Carter. So we'll wait and see, and if Carter can get back. But I think that's maybe what happened. What you were saying earlier about the tires. I think Carter's may have just gone off a little bit slightly, so Purton kind of managed it a little bit better. We see some boys starting to slightly cut the ripper strip there. You don't want to be doing that because everyone will start getting penalties. Same here if you drift a bit too wide. So yeah, it's we got the WTC boys. P2, P3, and P4, I believe. So they're definitely on the hunt for the MSR driver there. I probably wouldn't want to be Purton.
No, absolutely not. If he knows that the three of them are going to work together as a team and try and push their way through to get into that P1, or especially even try and get Carter back up into P1. So Purton leads ahead of the WTC boys in Carter, Griffin and James, and then right behind them is Koeman. I thought I just caught the end of there. I thought looked like Carter just ran wide there. He actually did this. I just caught that, and we can catch a quick replay. There he is. He's run wide into turn 14, as I just caught it in the background there before he went off to the cameras. And yeah, look at that. He just ran wide, and your race winner for the sprint race has made a crucial mistake at turn 14, and that's going to cost him for the rest of this race here. He's going to lose a lot of time. He'll lose ground to Gray and drops down to P8, DJ. That is a huge mistake there by your sprint winner.
Yeah, that is a massive mistake. It's not hard to do though. You can drop a tyre off there, and it looks like he just got on the gas a little bit too early, and it kind of just drifted the car out. So a big upset there for Carter, and he's dropped all the way down to 8. So it's definitely unfortunate, but we can't forget about Fletcher. Fletcher's still down here in 9th. He's just doing some laps, getting his head around the car. Oh, the commentator's curse there, nearly starts.
Saved it though.
Yeah, it was good. That was a good save. And that's actually not too bad of a looking car either. I quite like the colour schemes.
So it kind of brings the Aston Martin vibes of the Formula 1 team. So that British racing green with that lime orange stripe there. So he's done a good job with the Sub-Zero logoing there as well. Obviously that's also in his PSN name, but he's doing well, tracking along in P9. But yeah, as you said, there's a huge pressure there from Carter. He's now moved himself up back into P7, now P6. So this Griffin has actually dropped down the order as well there. So I've seen Griffin's name drop down. So what's happened to him? It looks like he may have gone off at turn 9, or actually well before turn 9 actually. So something's going on with the WTC boys here this evening, DJ. But when we look back up to here, we see the familiar name here back at the front runners of the championship. We have James up into P2, so the important man from WTC Racing is in that prime position to take out P2, but there is a long way to go, 11 laps of racing to go, with Purton leading, James second, and Koeman's now back, is promoted himself up into third place as well.
Yeah, couple of mistakes there. Probably not what the drivers wanted, but mate, these boys must be having a stream on because every time we go to them, they start flashing their lights. So Purton does it, and Fletcher did it before. So they must have like a little stream on in the background and say, "Here, boys, here's a little flash of lights." Just
Absolutely, get putting on a show for us. But as we see Smith actually just made a move on Hedges there for 4th place. So Smith's done a good job to get himself into P4. Hedges rounds up into P5, so a good couple of positions gained for Hedges, but it's still a long way to go as Carter's just now promoted himself back up into 6th place. So he's got I believe that is that 3 seconds between him and Hedges in 5th and 6th?
yeah, 2.4.
2.4, okay. So a little bit blurry on my end, but that's all good. But Carter still holds on to P6, but I wouldn't say far off pace from Purton. He's less than 10 seconds behind Purton, but with cars like this and with the nature of the track, it will be very tricky for Carter to get himself at least back up into that podium positioning. But I mean, it will be a recovery drive and a half if he can actually get himself back onto the podium.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if he can get himself back up there, but he's got that down to 1.5, so he's tracking on for a quick lap as he's just done a purple there, so he's done a 44.3, so he's pacing, you know, quite quickly compared to the guys on the front doing 45. So, oh, actually, hang on, something's happened to Purton here. We'll see if I can catch this one. Looks like he's run off at the last corner there, and James has actually taken big thank you to that.
Yeah, so the top 3 from the sprint race have all made big mistakes in this feature race here, and now it's given that lead back to James, who's going to be loving this position because that'll help him at least somewhat try to think about closing that gap between himself and Purton. But we know Purton to be very fast around this track, as demonstrated by his consistent 1 minute 44s in the sprint race. He might not be having the best time out in the feature race here, but it's only 9.5 laps to go. And looking into that background there, you can see Stig in James in 1st place, but then you can also see Carter rounding up the rear of this what is massive train of Formula 3 cars. So there you go. So the top 6 all in the same shot there, as you can also put in grey, as Hedges goes for a nice move onto Smith there. Well-timed move there for Hedges, and makes that move clean. Well done, Hedges. A great move there by Car 84 for MSR VR Racing, putting the move on the FR Bono Racing in Smith in 5th place. But Carter's right behind. He's not going to give up. He wants to try and push his way through, setting the fastest lap on that previous lap. He might be in contention to set another fastest lap as well as he's coming through to that final corner. He might be getting himself into the 1 minute 44s again. Yes, he does. It's not a fast lap, but as well, just like he showed, he's putting on some consistent running, and he's in the 44s as well. So don't rule him out just yet, at least for a podium. If he gets into a winning position here, DJ, don't you think that'll be like the comeback of the season? I'd say.
Yeah, especially dropping back that far, and then he's on track here to attack Smith. He's trying to go for a bit of an over/under here. Oops, did not mean to do that.
He's actually put himself a gap between him and Griffin, as well as Griffin is down the back there. I believe that gap was just under 10 seconds, or about 5 seconds between the two drivers. As we go on board with Carter, looks for a move going into turn 5. Does he make that move stick? A little bit of contact made between the two drivers, but he gets that position into P5 as we look for that replay, as we see Carter coming through, just coming through into the exit of turn 4, gets a really good run and just sends the car onto the inside. Just caught Smith napping there. A little bit of bump and grind there, but no harm done. He takes P5 away from Smith. Next on the target is the MSR driver in Hedges in 4th place, and then right up the road ahead is Koeman as well.
Not only Koeman, we've also got Purton.
Yeah,
so Purton looks to have made a mistake a little bit. He's dropped really off the back of James. So Purton's, see the flashing lights, I'm telling you. Every time. Yeah, he's got Koeman on the back of him, and then he's bringing Hedges with him, and then he's bringing Carter with him. So it's just a train of Red Bulls going on. So yeah, it's would you say that the Red Bulls giving the boys wings or what?
It's definitely giving James the wings for sure, just to fly ahead away from these drivers and getting himself a good, comfortable lead. And I guess for a driver like James, he's not really known to be very aggressive when it comes to making moves. He always holds his own. He holds his car in the right positions and keeps the pace with the rest of the field there. As Hedges runs wide and Carter gets a brilliant run going into turn 3. Hedges is going to look to defend the inside, but it's a little bit too late now as Carter sticks his nose in, goes for the move on the inside. They're both going to run side by side through turn 4. They're still going side by side, but I think Carter's going to have the upper hand with the tighter line through to turn 5. And will Hedges be able to make a response? No, he sinks back into P5. But like I said, yeah, I think with James's race pace, he's got some good quality consistency, and doesn't really need to pull away when he doesn't really have to pull away unless he actually needs to. If he knows he's under pressure from somebody, he will put his foot on the gas and will find those few extra tenths.
Yeah, definitely. Now Koeman's coming under pressure from Carter here, so this is going to be a solid race back here and redemption drive. But actually, Koeman's doing a pretty solid job here too. You know, he's kind of flying a little bit under the radar. You know, you could kind of say as we always say, obviously he's good friends with Devlin, who races in main series. He's obviously his Belgian buddy. Scully or Koeman. He's one also that always usually flies under the radar, just like Devlin does. So he's doing it. Probably, I think this is going to be one of his best results that I've seen here.
Oh yeah, well he did take a race victory in the feature race last at Road Atlanta for the opening rounds. He actually won the opening round at Road Atlanta, but yeah, it has been a while since we've actually seen Koeman on the track here as Carter looks for a move on the inside, going into turn 1, makes the move, very nicely done. So Carter putting on a great show for us this evening in the feature race, as we can see Koeman just getting a little bit tail happy on the rear end, but that's Carter back up onto the podium. But going back to Koeman, yeah, he did take a little bit of a break away from the game, from the Formula 3 series, but he's come back, he's put on a good performance at Seaside, and now he's been putting on some good performances here at Barcelona. So he's doing well. So it's some good props to him. But I mean, the star of the show is Carter putting on those moves. I mean, so many great moves from Carter. He's back onto the podium positioning after a huge costly mistake that he did on lap 1 of the opening lap of this feature race here this evening.
Yeah, he's doing a solid redemption drive here. It's pretty impressive, and definitely one that Slappers will definitely be happy to see. And now Koeman's coming under attack, but yeah, it's the solid drive.
Yeah, as Hedges looks to think about making a move on Koeman going to town 10. No, they're both braking at the same point, so both battle resumes here, but Hedges has got a much better run there on the exit of turn 10. You can't make good use of that going through turns 11 and 12. It is very, very tricky to think about putting moves there, especially on that very slow right-hander before you get to this double right-hander. So thank goodness we're not running the laser chicane here at Barcelona, so we get some fast-flowing action with our Formula 3 drivers. Koeman had to apply the brakes a little bit going into turn 14, which gives Hedges a bit of a run on the tucking underneath the rear wing of that ICE racing group. Car 90, I believe it is. I can't remember the actual number, but coming through to Hedges in P4, makes that move. The same move that Carter moved on the previous lap. Hedges has done the exact same thing, and he moves up into P4. Well, a little bit of a tail slide as well there, but Koeman could come back under that rear wing of the MSR VL Racing car 84, but can't make that move, can't lose it. He's actually lost traction there on the exit of turn 3, and Hedges has got that move done. It's all about him just trying to get anywhere near close as he can to Carter to try and relieve some pressure away from Purton. Looking like Purton's not really able to gain too much time on James here as he's looked back to the front. James still leads ahead of Purton, and he's actually lost a bit of time here, so it's about 1.5. So the last time we caught out DJ, I think it was about 2.6, 2.7, and he's brought that gap down massively.
Yeah, it's he's really brought that down. He's brought that down to 1.2 seconds, so 1.1, 0.9. So he caught a lot of time in that braking zone there into the hairpin. So James will want to kind of be careful. He doesn't really want Purton to get in front of him, because then he gets more points, which he doesn't want more points, obviously, because then that closes. Obviously, it won't close the gap because Purton had a better result in sprint race, but you know, any points you can try and snag off someone else is definitely good.
Yeah, absolutely. And with Purton just tucking into that slipstream, he's less than a second now between himself and James, the top two in the championship, but all in reverse order. James leads the race on lap 9 and 13. Purton right behind. They've dropped Carter, which is very important for Purton, but I wonder if James might start to play a bit of a roadblock between him and Purton to try and get Carter to get himself closer to try and coop up the round victory, as we have James executing turn 3 and then going into turn 4. As we look to go on board, let's try and go for a lap on board with Purton as he tries to run down James. Here's a car 56 of the WTC Racing in James versus car 91 of the MSRVL Racing in Purton. So both first and second in the championship. Purton leading the way, James in second as we go for the hot lap here. So sit back, enjoy this lap here as we watch Purton try to run down James for the lead of the feature race. As we come back, we do apologise, ladies and gentlemen. You see James get massive contact there with the lap driver as we go for that replay. What a turn of events here, DJ. I feel like what he was trying to do was let James go through, but James was not expecting that whatsoever, and it's just come into a collection there, massive contact, and wow, that's a game changer.
Yeah, that's wow, as you said.
I can't believe that. That is absolutely gobsmacking. I mean, we've had over the past the complications with our drivers in both Formula 3 and Formula 2, both struggling to give way with the blue flag, and that's a vast demonstration there on why you should need to give that place away and not interfere with the racing. And unfortunately for James's situation, that he's lost the lead, and that's become a huge blow for the WTC Racing driver. He looked certain to keep that first place, at least for the time being, because Purton, as we saw coming through turn 10, was looking so strong, and Carter in the background just loses the rear end of his car 23, so almost lost the rear end of that car. But I guess in a way he's actually managed to claw a little bit more time back on Purton on this lap here. So the battle resumes between Purton and James, and even Carter right behind there. But that was a huge game changer for James there, because he looked certain to maintain that first place.
Yeah, that was absolutely massive. You know, we don't like having lap drivers come into play, but you know, there's the odd case that it does happen. But yeah, that's very unfortunate there. It looks like he stayed to the right, but then tried to duck across the track. You know, timing come into play there. You know, it's a bit unfortunate, but you know, yeah, I think at the same time, James may have been able to back off a little bit, but you know, it's kind of it's a bit hard in the moment. So
for a driver's instinct, when you're fighting for the lead of the race, you don't really want to back off, because you've got your closest rival right on your rear wing. So I guess for James's case there, he will say that he was hampered there, and obviously contact was made. But then I guess you could say in Fletcher's case, he should have just backed off and maybe just taken tighter line through the right-hander. So you can't win in these situations, but unfortunately that might be going in for a steward's investigation to the post-race. But we'll find out later on. If you follow us on the Trackstars Discord, you'll be able to keep all the action of what goes on our Discord in the Trackstars Racing Series, and you'll be able to see more action coming through later on this evening on the YouTube channel, where we'll be bringing you the Formula Trackstars later on in less than an hour's time between the Formula Trackstars drivers. We can't wait to see what goes on there for 53 laps. We're on laps 11 of 13, and James has made a huge mistake in turn 9. You can just see he's just so frustrated with himself, and I wouldn't blame him whatsoever.
yeah, you know, it's yeah, he might be frustrated with himself, but at the end of the day, you kind of just got to keep going. Come back onto the straight, you know, tighten the belts down and just say, right, I gotta try and get this back. So he closed it down to Purton a little bit to, I think it was about 0.8, but now he's just dropped back to third. Carter in front of him with, yeah, that to about 2.5 seconds. So, you know, he's obviously unfortunate, but you just gotta let it go and address it after the race. But yeah, the guys have got 2 laps to go. They just started lap 12 or 13, and I think it's going to be a little bit on here for Carter if James can catch back up. But at the moment, I'm probably putting this on Purton. He looks to potentially just being able to run away with this one. Yeah, so it's not
Absolutely, yeah. And you can never tell. You can't write it off with only less than 2 laps to go. Carter's come through with a remarkable drive from P8 all the way up into position 2, and that's a great comeback drive there for Carter. You got to give the man full credit there for such a great drive, man. Putting his head down, not letting that mistake get to his head, and just making the moves when he needed to. And you can kind of see there in the foreground, he's really started to push his car to its absolute limit to get close to Purton, because it's going to come down to the last lap. And you can see there, that gap looks to be about 6-7 tenths between Purton and Carter as we look onto the onboards. There we go, as my theory suggests, it's going to be between Carter and Purton on the second, 1.5 laps to go. He's got himself a remarkable run through turn 9. He runs a bit wide in on the exit of turn 9 thanks to the dirty air, but we're going to be in for a showdown, ladies and gentlemen. Formula 3 spices up the championship in all forms of race, in all forms of the sprint and feature racing. And the feature race has done that, and it just runs wide through turn 10. So that's a key part of the track where you don't want to be running too wide, because then you start to lose traction and you lose a bit of confidence going to these last few sections. But it's all going to come down from one more lap. Purton is going to really be begging his car 91 to get through that checkered flag in first position, but it's not over until it's over. We're on for the final lap here as we see Carter just weaving to get that dirt off his tyres. Purton leads, Brian Carter in second, and then we have James in third, have Hedges in fourth, Coogan fifth, then Smith in P6, Griffin unfortunately not able to make too many positions, but he might make a decision on Smith in P7, and then we have Fletcher in Gray in P8, and then we have Fletcher down in P9. But we move back up to the front here. The battle is on for the race victory here, DJ. It's going to be close because it could be a potential for 3 cars as Griffin makes that move on Smith, but Smith starts to hold the outside, goes to the inside, contact made between the 2 drivers. Smith holds on to P6, so there's battle will resume there as Griffin just loses that car on the rear end, and unfortunately that might be his race over. He might have to settle for P7, but it's on up here, DJ. We've only got a few more seconds to go. I don't know who's going to come out on top.
Yeah, watch Carter's run through here. He gets an absolutely outstanding run. Oh, not so much this time, but last lap he got a fantastic run through that corner. He pulled like quite a lot of time back. Oh, Carter run really wide there. Hopefully he doesn't get a penalty, because if that does, that may escape off the skin on his neck there without a penalty. So that was very, very close.
He definitely got away with that, but I don't know, like what we say around this track, you cannot make moves in this final section, so it's all up to Purton to get these last 2 corners right. Runs a bit wide on turn 12 and then comes through the turn 13, but he's got the job done. He's got a good buffer over Carter. So for the first time here for round 6 for the track stars Formula 3, Purton will deny Carter the clean sweep, and he'll take back the winner's circle, take back the victory for MSR VL Racing with Carter in second, and then we have James in third. I would have to feel for the man, absolutely. He definitely got robbed. We definitely got robbed of a race finish there, but unfortunately for him, it is what it is. P3 for James in third, Hedges in fourth, Coogan in fifth, and then we have Smith and Griffin rounding up the top 6 and 7 with Gray in P8, and then we have Fletcher down in P9. So Purton with the victory, huge points going his way and further extending his championship lead.
Yeah, that was a very unfortunate one there for James, but you know, it's kind of is what it is. That's racing, I guess. That's what happens when you come in with lap cars. There's always a potential for that. You know, obviously, doing a lot of endurance stuff, we will have that in the future. We've had it in the past, and you know, it's not the first time it's happened. It's not going to be the last. So, you know, it is what it is. You kind of just got to, as I said, strap the belts down and just move on. So. know, he still come off with a podium, so I think he's he probably can't not be happy with that.
Yeah, absolutely, and he'll take P3 in the round honours as well. Just unfortunately with Griffin, with that mistake down in finishing up in P7. But man, that was a great drive between those two drivers, between Purton, James, and Carter. That Carter, that on especially on that last few laps, they're making the moves unbelievable. I mean, we'll call it nice and early, but I think Carter really deserves driver of the day for this weekend here at Circuit de Catalunya in Barcelona. We can't, and yeah, I guess full credit's going to go to Carter for driver of the day.
Yeah, he got a 43 too in that race too. He got a 43.9, so he did crack the
Wow,
43. So he was flying.
stunning, absolutely incredible pace there by Carter. Is just showing the boys at the back, showing the boys at the back, saying, I'm the fastest man. Even though I make a mistake, he can still come away and start pulling moves off on his competitors as low as P8, I believe it was, on the end of lap 1. So unfortunately, there with Fletcher on the back of the page and on the second page, all by himself, a lap down from the rest of his competitors. But Purton takes the big points away and will take the round honours here at Trackstars Formula 3. With Carter in second and then James in third. So big talking points at the end of this stream, DJ, and it's going to be all around James getting hampered.
Yeah, definitely. That's probably going to be the talk of the round and the talk in the pits. So we'll wait and see how that goes down. Maybe potentially one for the stewards to look at, but it kind of may not really affect anything due to Fletcher finishing obviously a lap down and stuff like that. But maybe just kind of give people a warning or something like that. But yeah, we'll kind of address that after. But yeah, it was definitely a good one, an interesting one. But yeah, until then, we gonna have an interesting one set in store for main series, I think.
Absolutely. We can't wait to bring the main series in less than an hour's time, commentated by your series admin in Jarman Dallet. So it'd be great to have him back in the commentary box as well as you and I both get ready to throw on our race suits and get ourselves ready for what is going to be 53 long laps of trying to make sure we can keep that front left tire intact for the whole duration of the race. So I'm not looking forward to it at all. So but we'll wait and see how it goes. For my Formula 3 drivers, we thank them so much for their attendance this evening. So it's actually bigger attendance this week. So great showing by our Formula 3 drivers to come in with big numbers here in our inaugural championship with the Formula 3s in the Red Bull Junior. So it's great to see these guys having a crack. And with Purton as well, coming away with the feature race victory and round victory as well. So I don't know about you, DJ, but I don't know about any final words here. I'm not looking forward to this main race.
The bluff. Look at you with your little bluff. I think we'll just wait and see on what happens. But until then, we are a little bit over time. So thank you for joining us in the stream. Like, subscribe. Turn the bell on so you guys get notified. Come join in Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Discord, all that kind of jazz. All the details and everything will be on the Facebook into the Discord. But until then, thanks to Nick Patasso and Spud P666, that's a tongue twister, or as Venti likes to say it, and Triple Spud.
and
and
Triple Spud.
and obviously myself in Ryan Palmer are disappointed. So thank you all for joining, and until then, we shall catch